shot calling, hitting like it's raw.
Hey guys, so basically don't mind the music in the background. I'm just trying something new, putting music in my background. You guys go in the comments and, ask me if this is a good, setting. But also, yeah, so basically, my what ifs, I'm going to be playing jazz or quick, music and stuff like that. So, let's get into it. So guys, basically, this is a new what if. This is a request from XX Galaxy Universal. He gave me like a whole entire script or like a story to follow, and it was a really good story in my opinion. And he's like really creative. Now, I would have thought about the werewolf and werewolf and vampire school, but yet again I didn't think of turning Deku into a ghost. So yeah. So basically, Deku in this universe is going to be a ghost. Now, guys, he commented this idea on my what if Deku was a monster slash shapeshifter what if. So you guys go in the comments and look at that. Basically, yeah, let's go into the video. So basically, Deku in this universe is going to be a ghost. So I'm going to narrate how Deku died. So basically, Deku died from a car accident. That's what I'm trying to say. Deku was ran over when he was about 15. Now, Deku can change his appearance to make him look a lot more older in his ghost form. So Deku, now he's just gonna take form of a 16-year-old him. So yeah. So basically Deku is ran over... Sorry guys. So basically Deku is ran over by, a driver on the street after Deku goes back to school because Deku in this universe is quirkless and also he's a human. Now, basically quirks aren't a thing in this universe since it's a vampire and werewolf school. Vampires, werewolves, and mystical creatures like those only exist. Now, since a witch is technically a mystical creature, Deku is not going to be a witch. Deku's just a normal human. But Deku's family was in a long line of, what was it? Gypsies. Now, Deku is half gypsy because Deku's father was a gypsy. But Deku isn't, gypsies, if you don't know what gypsies are, they're basically just off-brand witches. So yeah. So basically, Deku was bullied because he was a gypsy. And Deku, when Deku died, no one really, cared. Except for his father and mother. Deku's father died a couple months after Deku died from a heart attack. And pretty much Deku, was at the graveyard. Instead of Deku going to hell or heaven, or even going to the underground, where the mystical creatures go to, like the mystical land of creatures go to, like how, if you're half human and you don't want to stay into, the mystical realm of the in-between. Sorry guys for that, my dad walked in. Sorry guys if I, messed the video for you. But yeah, so basically, Deku is going to be... Sorry, let me turn that up. So basically, Deku is going to be, Deku's actually going to be very powerful, since he's a gypsy slash ghost. So basically, Deku and his genes, in this universe, gypsies, when they die, their ghost forms become extremely powerful. So Deku, being a ghost, can, do a lot more things. And he's more powerful now. Now, Deku is still Deku. He's bullied, but he's also very nice. Pretty much Deku, still has the same personality. So basically, in this universe, Bakugo's going to be a werewolf, and all other students are going to be vampires, werewolves, or any type of mystical creatures that you want them to be. So, I already choose. Todoroki's going to be a vampire. Bakugo's going to be a werewolf, obviously. And Kirishima's going to be a werewolf. And, pretty much it's going to be groups instead of jocks and nerds, stuff like that. Sorry guys, my mom walked in. I mean, like, straight up can't get anything done in this house. Basically, Deku is a lot more stronger. Now basically, Deku, I'm gonna name out all the abilities that Deku has. Deku's going to have the ability to pretty much teleport. And let me just explain all of Deku's powers. Deku has all the, powers of a ghost, plus the powers that I'm going to give him. Deku has the ability to walk through walls, fly, disappear, sorry guys. Deku can walk through walls like he can become intangible. Deku can also see through objects. Deku also has the ability to necromance small people, like small creatures like dogs or cats, stuff like that. But Deku cannot necromance a human at all. It doesn't even matter how strong Deku trains. Deku cannot necromance a human. Deku also can possess people, and also Deku can possess corpses. But he can only possess corpses and people for about 10 minutes, and then he gets, super tired. Now, Deku also has the ability to, make himself solid to a point that he feels, alive. Deku also has the ability to, fly at, the speed of light. Deku also has increased strength, like how Danny Phantom can, do all that crazy stuff. Deku also can shoot plasma beams out of his hands, but nothing else. Deku also is able to talk to other ghosts, obviously, and Deku also has the ability to teleport, and Deku has the ability to, pretty much, super hearing. So Deku is pretty OP. Now, Deku doesn't have, freaking Superman levels of strength. Can't do anything. My dog even interrupted my video. Like, what? So, yeah. So, basically, guys, Deku is gonna have all those abilities. Now, I'm not gonna make Deku use all of them in every what if, but Deku is gonna be pretty OP. No cap. So Deku will have pretty much all those abilities, and if you guys want to give Deku more, that's good with me. But yeah, so basically, Deku, was at the graveyard, pretty much just wandering like a wandering spirit. Deku wanders around for, months, and then months turn to years, and pretty much it's been about a half a year since Deku has died. Bakugo actually did bully Deku, but Bakugo, still was kind of sad for Deku's family. But yet again, Bakugo's pretty much, Bakugo's family was a long line of very powerful werewolves. Like, Bakugo's great-great-grandfather was actually Silverback, and Deku's great-great-grandfather was Deku's great-uncle. Bakugo's uncle was actually Teen Wolf. So basically, Bakugo, was obviously going to be a werewolf. If he wasn't, he would be, pretty much go up for adoption. So basically, Bakugo, walks by the graveyard. In this universe, pretty much, if you don't hold your breath, this is actually a really occurring thing. It's actually real in lore. Basically, if you don't hold your breath walking past a graveyard at night, a ghost or a spirit will follow you to your home. So pretty much, Bakugo doesn't, believe all that stuff, and pretty much Deku follows Bakugo when he goes, home. But Deku is, following him, and he's amazed at what he sees. Since Bakugo comes from a long line of werewolves, he's extremely rich. Now, since werewolves and vampires are an occurring normal thing in this universe, it's such a thing as since birth, vampires basically are given daylight rings when they hit the age of 2 months, because when they hit 2 months, they're strong enough to get daylight rings. Werewolves, if they don't want to transform, they can also wear silver bullets around their neck so they don't have to transform. Now, transformations are kind of pretty much every bone in their body, collapses and breaks, and then they wake up a couple minutes later blacking out, and then they wake up, in their werewolf form. So that's basically how transformations work. So basically, vampires, I'm explaining, it's only 2 type of vampires in this universe. It's Vampire Diaries vampires, how their powers work, and also it's Dracula type of vampires that are, weaknesses to, holy water, all that other stuff. So yeah. So basically, in this universe, Endeavor is actually going to be Dracula's universe. Now, Endeavor is going to be great-grandson of Dracula, and Todoroki is going to be, the next vampire king. Pretty much, werewolves and vampires have been in war, but since, after the great, werewolf war, a great, vampire war, or a great mystical war, vampires and werewolves have been, living in peace, but they're still kind of, racist towards vampires. Werewolves are. So pretty much vampires in this universe, vampires, pretty much if you feed on human blood, vampires can feed on human blood from, it's alcohol. It's like a whole entire chain. Pretty much, it's a bank. It's a blood bank that vampires go to, like a grocery store, a blood bank. Pretty much, vampires go there. They grab, different types of blood, and that's how they feed. They don't feed on humans. But murderer or like rogue vampires kill humans, and vampires can drink werewolf blood, but it doesn't give them strength. It just makes them, hungry, more hungry. But it can't give them a little bit of powers from a werewolf, like increased speed and stamina. So yeah. So basically, Deku follows Bakugo home, and Bakugo walks into his house. Bakugo's house is like freaking huge. It's like a whole entire mansion, like a freaking bachelor's type of mansion. But pretty much Deku walks in there and pretty much follows them. For about a couple days, they hear, noises around the house, and that was Deku. Deku was closing doors, opening them, pretty much messing around, looking through the house. Now in this universe, Bakugo has a brother. In this universe, Bakugo's brother, well, adopted brother, is actually Kirishima. Kirishima in this universe, Kirishima's parents actually die in this universe because Kirishima's parents are actually vampires, very old vampires that fought in a vampire and werewolf war. They died, and pretty much Bakugo's family adopted Kirishima. The same, time near when Bakugo turned, 5 years old. So pretty much Kirishima is going to be a lot more closer towards Bakugo because, they're going to be brothers. So pretty much Bakugo is a Kirishima's actually going to be a werewolf. Kirishima's uncle is actually a werewolf because vampires can be turned into werewolves because by the age you turn 5 years old, if you're a vampire, you turn into a vampire. But if your family is turned into a werewolf, you get werewolf or vampire gene. So yeah. It's pretty much random, kind of like how quirks are. So yeah, so pretty much Kirishima is a werewolf and Bakugo is a werewolf. Now let's get back to Deku. Pretty much Deku follows them into the the mansion, and pretty much Deku is making ruckus and all other stuff. They decide one day they make a Ouija board to contact Deku. They start contacting Deku, and Deku is pretty much, decides to talk to them back. They pretty much start talking, and pretty much Deku tells him his name, and doesn't tell him what he was before he died, a gypsy. Because they knew Deku was a gypsy, they wouldn't really, be that nice to him. Pretty much, they did see Deku around the house a couple times, but they never really confronted Deku. Now, Bakugo knew Deku because, he bullied him, so pretty much he says that was a gypsy kid that died a year ago. So pretty much Deku gets angry by this, and pretty much, starts using his telekinesis to move objects around the, house, breaking glass windows, and pretty much, just throwing knives towards the family. They get stabbed a little bit, but, werewolves can super heal, so they just pretty much rip the knife out of their body, and they start healing. So pretty much, they get mad at this, and pretty much say, get out of our house, and pretty much they call a warlock over. Pretty much a warlock that his specialty is, getting rid of spirits. Since Deku was a very powerful spirit, Deku can't be, exorcised away. So pretty much, whatchamacallit? Oh, sorry guys. So basically, Deku sees that, they call Warlock over, and this Warlock is none other what was it? Tokiyami. Tokiyami is gonna be a Warlock in this universe. Tokiyami, pretty much Tokiyami, since he's a Warlock, he basically is half Griffin, half Warlock, so he still has his bird head. So yeah, so Tokiyami still has his bird head, because his grandfather is a Griffin, or a human Griffin. In this universe, Griffins can transform into humans and transform into Griffins. So yeah, that's how Griffins work in this universe. So if you don't know what a griffin is, it's basically a lion slash eagle slash bird. It's like a really mystical creature. Um it's in Harry Potter. Pretty much, yeah. So basically, Deku, sees this and pretty much, they have a whole entire fight and he tries to, exorcise Deku away. But Deku is too powerful and pretty much he makes amends with them a couple days after they try to necromance Deku away. They make amends and Deku, is brought into the family because they think Deku's pretty strong and he can become a pretty powerful hero one day. Now, Deku, in this universe, you guys can decide Deku could have children or not. But yeah, and since he's dead, he probably will never be able to have kids. But yeah, so basically, Deku has the ability to basically transform. Deku also has the ability to shapeshift as well, like how Danny Phantom and pretty much the ghost from the from the Beetlejuice. So yeah. So basically Deku, since he can shapeshift, Deku can transform into different, ghostly creatures. So yeah. So basically, so there's two type of vampires, it's two type of werewolves as well. It's teen wolf werewolves that can only transform into, humanoid werewolves, and it's werewolves that can transform into, those big werewolf humanoid creatures, like, with huge, like, packs of fur, like the Order werewolves. If you haven't seen Order, it's on Netflix. It's a pretty good show. So basically, yeah. So basically, Deku is pretty, strong. I'm really going back to how Deku is so strong in this What If. But yeah, so pretty much they go to UA the next week, and pretty much, Bakugo, takes Deku to, UA with Kirishima. They get dropped off at UA in their limousine, and pretty much they walk in. So pretty much they walk in there, and they see that, UA still has its same symbol, but UA's symbols are in black and gray, with werewolf and vampire eyes all around it. So pretty much, since there's other mystical creatures other than vampires and werewolves, you guys can decide who should be what in this universe. So Ida's going to be a what was it? Ida's going to be a what was it again? What was it? Because Ida's going to be a golem in this What If, because golems can be pretty much anything. So Ida's going to have the power of being a golem. So his engines and his legs are going to be golem, created. So yeah. So golems can sexually reproduce in this What If. They really can't. They just clone themselves or make their children out of pieces of themselves and other female golems. So yeah. So basically, Ida is a golem. I'm gonna be naming 3 other characters that I am gonna be naming the creatures they're gonna be. You guys can go in the comments and decide who should be what. Like, do a whole entire list, whatever. So basically, Mina is going to be a vampire in this What If, and Dinky is going to be a werewolf. So yeah, and also what was his name again? Azal is going to be a vampire, because vampires can, use the whole entire thing with, compulsion and all that stuff. So yeah, and All Might is going to be a hybrid. Now, hybrids are super rare in this universe. Hybrids are basically a vampire and a werewolf mixed together, like all types of werewolves and vampires mixed into one creature. Because All Might is all of the creatures of a vampire. He's both of the 2 types of vampires and both of the 2 types of werewolves. So yeah, so pretty much it's gonna be one other ghost in this What If, but you guys can decide if that would be true or not. So yeah, so basically Deku goes into class and just turns himself invisible. Kirishima tells Deku not to do that and be seen. Deku takes that to heart and pretty much what was it? I don't know what. It doesn't he turns back into he doesn't go invisible anymore. So basically, sorry guys. So basically, Zaha walks in class and explains that the class are doing quick assessments and they get outside. They go outside and they're told to throw the ball. Deku grabs the ball and pretty much chucks it with his telekinesis plus his superhuman strength, throwing it about 2 times farther than Bakugo's original throw in canon. Bakugo, since he's a werewolf, he's a lot more stronger, and pretty much Bakugo grabs the pretty much Bakugo grabs the what was it? Bakugo grabs the ball and pretty much transforms into his werewolf form and chucks it about 55 feet up into the air, pretty much getting a pretty good score. So pretty much, what was it? Kirishima throws the ball at the same height as Bakugo, and everybody else throws it sort of kind of the same. Denki throws it as far as Ida's original throw in canon, and pretty much stuff like that. So basically, for the long jump, everybody aces it pretty well. Deku just flies. So yeah, guys, I got interrupted again. Jesus Christ. But yeah, guys, so let's get back into the video. So basically, Deku is, pretty good. So for the race, Deku just, flies past everybody. But Todoroki gets the highest score because, vampires have super speed. So yeah. So basically, Deku gets second place in the race. So for the whole entire, top score, Deku gets second place. Bakugo gets third place, and Todoroki gets first place because he's a very ancient vampire. Because his ancestor is freaking Dracula, the strongest vampire. Yeah, so basically they go and they get sent back home after the first day of viewing. They're handed their syllabus. So they go back home. Bakugo and Kirishima and Deku are, picked up by the limousine and they're drived off. Now, since Deku was very powerful, he can make himself, physical. So he can, in theory, pick up people and, stuff like that. So pretty much, Deku basically, goes back to home, and we end off our what if there. So, XX Galaxy Universal, you can decide who should be who, and see you guys later. Bye, and as always, have a blessed day, and deuces.